Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Hello, everyone. How are you? That was the Nikki Tutorials. Hello, everyone. I haven't spoken to, wow. I haven't had a conversation with someone in a long ass time. So I'm like weirded out by the sound of my voice right now because I'm like, oh, social interaction. This is crazy. Except I'm just talking to myself alone in a room like I have been for the last 2 weeks because there's a pandemic and we're all in quarantine. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Are we panicking? Are we calm? Is it fine? Is everything's this is fine. I'm fine. I'm boiling a pot of tea. I don't remember if I said that already or if I said that in the before times, before the okay, I just need a moment here to warm up to the idea of not being alone in a room, and like social communication, and also the fact that I'm dead sober because I'm trying to preserve my immune system, so I haven't been drinking all week. Although maybe I'll have like one drink at the end of the night because it'll be funny to see me get litty on one drink because I've been not drinking for a week. I don't know, for 2 weeks. I know I'm still alone. But I'm talking to myself now and also talking to hundreds of people. I'm gonna try to collect myself and I'm gonna get that tea because I think I hear it's done boiling. I'll be right back. Yes, I'm using this teapot, the Take a Fucking Sip Babes teapot. It's kind of fun. This is gonna make it fun. It's gonna make it fun to drink tea instead of booze. And this stream is gonna be basically 100 questions versus my lingering coronavirus cough. So, yeah, let's just start by saying I hope you guys are okay. I know that this is like a new nightmare reality that none of us really saw coming. And I probably, if you didn't see my earlier posts, I probably had coronavirus the last 2 weeks. I don't know for sure because I haven't been tested. But basically I was in LA 3 or 4 weeks ago and this was like before anyone was taking this seriously enough. And I went to Disneyland, and just went out and was on a plane and ate at the airport food court and all kinds of reckless shit like that. And I stayed with my friend Jenny, who got sick, and she got really sick. Like she had to go to the emergency room. I'm sure you saw her tweeting about it. And I never got it even close to that bad. So maybe it's because she has other like respiratory problems. I have never had a history of respiratory problems, so that might be the reason I didn't have it so bad. But I basically have been sick for 10 days, and yesterday was like the first day I felt like normal again. So you know, I feel like today I feel like healthy for the first time in a while, except for this cough that I still have a little bit. And oh my God, I just want to go outside and like celebrate, but instead I have to stay inside for who knows how many more weeks and just watch the news as like thousands of people die from the disease that I just survived. So, fuck, basically. I feel kind of dumb for not like taking this as seriously as I should have, like before this happened, but I don't know. It's hard to take it seriously when no one else is. But now we're all forced to take it seriously, so here we are. Let's answer some questions. Anthony Hodog says, from what I hear about your essential oil diffuser, crystal obsession, and talk of grounding, I'm guessing you've dipped your toes into new age occulty stuff. I'd love to hear more. I guess I sort of have. I don't think of myself as like a new age occult person. I don't particularly have spiritualist beliefs. I just think that a lot of new age practices are psychologically healthy for me. So I like the aromatherapy kind of stuff, essential oils, like that. I just know that having nice smells like improves my mood and it makes me feel calmer. Crystals, I mean, I don't really believe that there's magic crystals with powers, but I think that a crystal is like, it's a fascinating object. It's like an aesthetically and to a certain kind of mind, intellectually fascinating object. Not my kind of mind. To me, it's just an aesthetically fascinating object, and it kind of just like it like sort of centers your attention to hold a crystal, right? It sort of gives you an object outside yourself to focus on, and that can also be relaxing. So I do kind of like new agey stuff. I like new agey stuff, but I don't like necessarily have like new agey beliefs, if that makes sense. Alex Bertrand says, so you've been sick and probably quarantining, so you've had to fill a lot of time lately, I imagine. What sort of stuff did you do to ward off the existential dread? Well, I can just cough at you guys because I'm alone in a room. I've been playing the piano a lot when I was feeling up to it, so I've been doing that like way more than I have in like years. So like a couple days I was playing like 3 or 4 hours. So I think oh my God, I did my makeup really well today. Look at this highlight. Sickening. It's little things. Yeah, I think this year I wanna like get better at piano. I wanna buy a grand piano. Like that's gonna be, I think, the most expensive thing I buy for the next couple years. Like I don't care about cars. I don't care about other expensive things people buy, but I really want a piano, like a grand piano. So I think that would be fun. I think I might have to move to a bigger apartment if I'm gonna do that, but I think that would be fun. I could play it in videos for the video credits. And what else did I do? I've been playing. So when on the days I was like too sick to feel like playing piano, I was playing this game on my phone called I Love Hugh. I don't know if you guys have ever played this game. It's like a puzzle game, but it's based on colors. It looks like this, and so I'm playing that. I actually, when I was really like, fuck, I'm not getting anything done, I actually started a game in Skyrim, which is the first like time I've always like been talking about playing Skyrim on stream, but I decided to just try it. And so I actually played like 15 hours of that. So I created a character who was an assassin. And by assassin, I do mean murderer. And that's fun. So yeah, I'm literally becoming a real gamer, finally. And okay, I've also been reading books. I've been doing a lot of research for my next video. Um, I won't tell you what the topic is yet, but I've been reading a lot of books for the next video too, and doing internet research as well. Eliza Prescott says, oh my god, I need to get a Switch so I can play Animal Crossing and so I can play Breath of the Wild, because people keep telling me that I should play it. Eliza Prescott says, hey Nat, your loving audience, referring in particular to Patreon subscribers, have expressed our gratitude for all the ways in which you've helped us. But besides watching and subscribing, how can we be helpful in particular to you? Well, being my patrons is pretty helpful. So that's great. I'm loving that. I guess just keeping it 100, just being chill in these streams, not asking weird questions about my live journal posts you found from 2009 or whatever. Those things are all good. Apart from that, I don't know. I feel like I don't really feel like I can ask for any more. I'm looking at the chat. Oh my god, yeah. I always used to like playing as Link when I was a kid and played games. Okay, I think this tea is steeped, so I can pour a little cup. It's a really pretty cup. The big they them of the Mid-South says, Nat, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Silly question, because I'm sure we are all stressed AF. What is your stance on snakes? Are they hashtag woke or are they hashtag canceled? What is the tea? Well, I don't know. My feeling is that snakes are canceled, but not like super canceled, just like medium canceled. I don't know. I don't like snakes, but I'm not like phobic about them either. But if a snake was at my house, like I guarantee you I would not be chill about it. There's certain other YouTubers I'm friends with who do have snakes. I don't have snakes. What I'm really scared of, though, is spiders. Like people who have pet tarantulas. What is that about? That's the tea. Those are my thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Alicia Crawford says, what was the thing that you had the worst buyer's remorse about that you're willing to tell us? As in literally a thing you purchased that you regret. I've bought some things for, okay, maybe that bathtub. Maybe the bathtub for the opulence video. Because it was so difficult to get it into my apartment that by the time it was here, I was already like not worth it. And then I had to get rid of it. But I think I told you guys last time, I did find a new home for that bathtub. So I'm at least happy to report that it has a new home in Baltimore with a group house of people who are actually going to use it. So I'm happy that it didn't end up in the dump, because I was a little afraid that would happen. So the bathtub, I don't know. I guess it ended up working out. It looks good in the video. It was just annoying, annoying to have to deal with. I got it on Craigslist. RJM says, hey Natalie, how are you doing? Whom do you stan? I'm doing good. Hey, how are you? I stan, so I know this makes me like a basic lib or whatever, but lately I stan John Oliver. I've been watching a lot of John Oliver lately. I don't know. You guys can make fun of me all I want for being a lib or whatever the fuck you people think I am. But I don't know. I find him a soothing presence in these times. And I really like his things about coronavirus. I think like it's like a good balance of anger at Trump and like other coverage of the crisis. Yes, of course, I also stand Katya. We all stand Katya. Natalie says, hi Natalie. I've found that now that I've accepted myself as lesbian, I don't feel as much pressure to achieve high femme in my transition, which is nice, but now that I feel more free to dress and present how I want, I worry that I won't be read as female. Have you felt a similar feeling in regards to presentation as you've come out to yourself, and has that brought any baggage along with it? If so, how have you dealt with it? I feel like I have experienced almost the opposite, where I, because I don't know, I'm not feminine because like I'm not like, well, there's between being feminine, but I'm not either because I, because I'm trying to pass, I guess. Like to me, I think I'm just naturally. Like, I think I'm feminine by nature and, like, a woman by choice. So, like, even when I was a man, like, I mean, I toned it down to, you know, because you had to butch up if you're gonna be a man who dates women. But, I mean, I was like, on, like, Halloween and shit, I was always dressing up as some kind of vampire, like, aristocrat. The white lace and the wigs would come out. So, I guess I just think that I am femme, and I think that the pressure that I feel is actually like the pressure to sort of butch up to be a lesbian, which I don't want to do. I guess I don't know. A lot of people seem to expect that suddenly I'm gonna wear snapbacks and flannel all the time, which just doesn't. I don't know. That's just not really my style. Like, I don't have a problem with it. It's just not really me. And I realized that, you know, I mean, I've made some concessions. I've made certain concessions to lesbianism. Like, I've accepted that the acrylic nails had to go. So here we are with totally natural nails. So that's a little thing that I've done as a nod to lesbianism. But I just no, I feel like this is how I like to present. I don't know. And I guess the point you're making, like, I guess it's convenient for me that I like presenting this way, because people are, I think, more accepting of feminine trans women. So the fact that, like, I can see how if you didn't naturally like being feminine, like, I can see how the pressure to constantly be that way would be an oppressive burden. But to me, that's not a problem. To me, the problem I'm gonna have instead, and maybe a problem that you won't have, is that I'm always gonna be read. If I present like this, people read me as a straight woman. So I think no one ever assumes that I'm a lesbian by looking at me. So that's the downside, I suppose, of being this feminine. If you're gonna be a gay woman, which I am gonna be. Okay. Julia says, hi Natalie. This is probably going to be my last question. I am most likely going to go down to the $2 tier for monetary reasons. Thoughts on Vosh? Do you think you're going to do a video similar to Violence, where there is media analysis? Also, I hope you get better from the coronavirus and have a good quarantine. Okay, I'm not sure what you mean by media analysis, but I actually do have a video in mind that I think is going to return to the a lot of the themes from Violence, because that video is like one of my least discussed, like least referenced videos ever. I think like no one remembers that one, but I don't know. I think it had some cool things in it, so I kind of want to bring back some of those themes. Vosh. I have a soft spot for him, and maybe that means I'm canceled, but I don't know. I maybe it's just cause he's one of my finest white knights. I don't know. I kind of like him. I guess the one thing he does that annoys me is he does that like that bread tuber man, that male bread tuber thing where you like hate on Blair White really aggressively. That kind of rubs me the wrong way, but we'll certainly look past that because of Vaj's noble contributions to white knighting for me. I like him. Yeah, I like him. I like him. Tracy David says, what was the first movie you remember seeing in the theater? Mine was The Rescuers. Thanks for the AMA. You're welcome. The first movie I saw in the theaters was Toy Story. The first Toy Story, which I was a little kid, I saw with my dad, and we both liked it. It's a good movie. And that was also like the first like totally computer animated movie I'd seen, I think. You are in trouble, Tracy. Very disappointed. Okay. Alejandra in the Riveras says, happy you're feeling better, dear, and very happy that you're taking all the time you need to create. In the spirit of keeping it light, my question is that if by some set of miracles we aren't all social distancing for the rest of the year, oh god, if that happens, I don't know what's gonna happen to us. Do you think you'll make an appearance at DC renewed Dyke March or any Dyke Marches? Last year's Dyke March against displacement was DC's first in many years, and it was very trans affirming. I don't know, maybe. I feel like I tend not to do that kind of like super high visibility like public thing these days, but I'm not opposed to it. I could be persuaded, I'm sure. Nolan Segrist says, greeting your radiance. As a master of aesthetics, what are your top 5 works of art, music, painting, sculpture, poetry, etc., that must be experienced before dying? Wow, that is quite a question to throw at me on a live stream. Okay, let me see if off the top of my head I can name the 5 greatest works of art of all time. Well, I think that I'm not going to do that. What I'll do instead is I will just name 5 that I think of. Give me a second. I kind of hate the task of like deciding on a canon, but okay, I guess number 1 would be you should listen to the complete works of Johann Sebastian Bach, which I guess is not one work of art, but if I think that I've been back on my Baroque music nonsense lately, and I just really think that Bach is a good composer. I keep an eye on him. I think he has a future as a musician. So definitely top new musicians of 2020 to you know, we're gonna expect more of him in the spotlight in 2021. Mark my words. Two would be "Do Me" by Kim Petras because it's a banger and it is it was my 20 uh 2019 slutty summer jam. Uh, Number three would be um uh maybe I should think of maybe the Metamorphosis of Kafka because that is I think one of the great imaginative uh, creations of world literature, and it describes the human condition. Number four would be um, God Only Knows by the Beach Boys because it's really beautiful and I love the chord progression and it makes me cry. And number five would be um, I don't know. Ode to a Nightingale by John Keats because, well, Keats was having a difficult time. I'm trying to throw him a bone here. He needs a boost. Uh, okay, that's as good as I'm gonna do. Savagely Sapphic says, "Hey Natalie, I'm wonder what are some of your routines slash things you're doing to help keep your spirits up. I'm working tomorrow from 3 to 8 p.m. So in the case that I missed the live stream, I just want to say, hope you're feeling better and sending lots of good vibes. Sincerely yours, Nat. Thanks, Nat. What am I doing to keep spirits up? I'm trying to, and I kind of do this in general, but I listen to music all the time or listen to YouTube videos or audiobooks just to keep myself from going crazy from the loneliness. Like, to me, silence is just like, silence is kind of torture, I guess. I don't like to hear, I don't, so I like to constantly be listening, listening to music or to people speaking to me. So that helps me. I take baths every night, so the baths are good. It's also good for the cough. So, yeah, I got some more bath bombs on Amazon. So fortunately, that's kind of keeping me going. And I've been cooking. That's the other thing I've been doing. I've been making a lot of like stir fries, and that's, I don't know. It's something to do. Charlie Smith says, "Hey Gorge, I don't want to get too political, but what's your favorite salad dressing?" Okay, I really like just, this is boring, but I really like just olive oil, vinegar, and lemon juice. I guess usually you do either lemon juice or vinegar. But what about both though? Like, and some pepper. To me, that's what I like. Especially if it's like good olive oil. Jim Max has, "I'm guessing that even after the quarantine is long over, many more people will be averse to hugging or shaking hands than before. I'm curious to know what kinds of unforeseen, lasting cultural effects you imagine might arise post-quarantine, if any." Yeah, I've been thinking about this because I'm sure that it will have an effect on our culture, on world culture, maybe. Yeah, I was thinking handshakes. That might be something that, like, because it's kind of, handshake is a terrible, unsanitary custom. Like, we should bow maybe, or do like, I've seen people do like this thing, like I don't know. We could do something like that. We should replace the handshake. And I think maybe another effect that I'm guessing will happen is that in the West, wearing masks will probably become more common, the way it is like in China, for example. So I think that that's probably going to be an effect. Like, we're not going to, there's, you know, in 10 years, there's not going to be a mask shortage here the way there was this time. Lee Marsh says, "Hi Natalie, hope you're feeling better. Autistic spectrum people are 5 times more likely to have gender dysphoria than average, and we tend to be drawn to technology-based jobs. My pet theory is this may be behind the programmer trans girl stereotype of thoughts." I think that's probably true. And I've been doing a little bit of research for this video on like autism. I have to admit, I don't know that much about autism, and I don't know that much about autism and trans people, but I'm curious to learn more about this because it's something that comes up somewhat frequently these days for me. Just something I've noticed. So I'm trying to get educated about this topic. But I think you're onto something there, Lee, with the trans girl programmer stereotype. Rain says, "Not. I'm glad to hear you're recovering. Silly question, but considering most of us are housebound, do you have any book recommendations?" Yes. So it depends on like what you want to read. If you like essays, or if you're feeling intellectual, then I have been rereading just for fun Susan Sontag's essay collection Against Interpretation and Other Essays, which is actually it's like literary criticism basically, but if you're interested in art criticism, that collection includes Notes on Camp, by the way, which is the one I cited in Opulence, which you guys are probably familiar with. But the title essay Against Interpretation is, I think, like one of the best pieces of criticism ever written, and I want to do a video that kind of draws from Susan Sontag's like those essays, because I think it's something that would really kind of could energize some of the discussions about art criticism that go on YouTube, and it's something that's like totally missing. So I like that. I've been reading. I mentioned the Metamorphosis earlier. I've been rereading Kafka's short stories, and I really those shorts. I mean, they're creepy. So if you're already feeling too much existential dread, maybe that's not the way to go. For me, I don't know. One way that I can sometimes cope with existential dread is by jumping straight into it. Like Dan, Foldable Ideas. He just did a video today about how he can't stop watching the movie Contagion. So this is very much in that category. But like if you're sick and suffering, somehow Kafka seems like he understands you. And I reread The Hunger Artist this week. There's a lot there. So I like Kafka's stories. On a more lighter reading note, I've also been reading a bunch of books, like psychology books, for this video I'm working on. One of them, I won't tell you what it is because it'll give the topic away, but one that won't give the topic away that I just read that was really good it's called The Joy of Pain. It's by a psychologist, but it's like for a popular audience, and it's about Schadenfreude and like the role of Schadenfreude in human life. And it's really good. I guess it all sounds really dark. I don't know. I just been reading a lot of dark stuff. Sarah Keith. No wait, I'm skipping one. Ella Hunter Herrera says, "Have you considered when you're well enough doing some mutual aid in your local community? I'm picking up groceries for the disabled, sick, elderly around me. Considering the government's response is to eventually let the poor and immunocompromised, disabled, and elderly die to make the stocks rise, We can only rely on each other to get us through this catastrophe. Also, everyone should join the work, rent, and general strikes if they can. I have not been doing that because I'm a bad person, but my brother is a good person, and he has been doing that exact thing in Baltimore, going around and dropping off groceries for elderly people in the neighborhood in Baltimore. And I should, now that I'm well enough, should start joining him doing that. So, good suggestion. Thanks, Alejandro. Sarah Keith says, "You have current events. How have current events, COVID, influenced your work? Have you adjusted your script or production plans? Glad you're feeling better." Yeah, good question, Sarah. I'm kind of like, I'm actually torn on what to do about this because I'm currently mid-production on a video. That is not about coronavirus, and I'm gonna release it. I think, well, we'll see. I still honestly, it's about 2 weeks away from being done. I've done the wardrobe, I've done the research. I still haven't even finished the script. So it's things have been slow with me being sick, and also the research on this. When you do a video that's not just an autobiographical vlog about your life, you have to do a whole bunch of research. It's crazy. It takes a lot of time. I do have someone helping me with the research, by the way, but I'm still, reading books and stuff. And I'm planning to release it as usual in 2 weeks, but I'm also a little bit worried because in 2 weeks, this sounds really dark, but in 2 weeks, America is probably going to be a really dark place. And I sort of have a little bit of hesitation about releasing an off-topic video like when people are fucking dying. But also, I don't know, people are dying all the time. The world's terrible, and I think that I think that actually I don't really want to do a video about coronavirus anyway, because it's the only thing anyone's talking about, and I don't feel like I have anything much new to say. And I also think that, people probably want to be distracted from coronavirus with something else. So I think that I am actually going to stick to doing not coronavirus content, just to, because also I'm like I've been reading on the news every day and obsessing about it. So I'm already going crazy from that. So I think I need to, I got to talk about something that's not that. So I'm gonna go ahead as usual. Yeah, that's the plan. Also, hi Nick in the chat. I saw you. Sternenlied says, Sternenlied, or maybe Sternenlied. I don't know. Given the current crisis and valid concerns of marginalized people to receive substandard care, what actions would you like to see from going forward? I assume you're missing a word after from. What actions? Well, what would I like to see the government do, other people do, the community do, the media do? I guess I don't know. I really wish that people, especially the government, would listen to experts instead of listening to the stock people. I think that this seems like it has to happen at a local level. So it seems like, at the state level, governors are doing their best with it. I'm sure we all saw the footage today of the giant naval hospital on the the river outside New York, outside Manhattan, and someone quoted me, the stock people, stonks. I don't know. I just wish we would let just epidemiologists run the country for a month, and then kind of like use the internet to organize, like basically taking care of our own communities. I think that's the best idea I have. Like, comment and subscribe, and marginalized people receiving substandard care. Well, yeah, that's I sort of I'm not exact by marginalized. What are we talking about here? We're talking about like poor people. We're talking about communities that don't. I mean, I sort of don't know like what communities. I mean, what I've heard is that what the worst is to be like sick, immunocompromised elderly. But I imagine that I don't know. I follow like the Baltimore hospitals on social media, so at the local level, like I will keep an eye. It just occurred to me that I have some, not a lot, but I have some medical supplies that I have as props, including surgical masks. I wonder if I can donate those to a hospital that probably needs them. I don't have a lot. It's like 10 masks, but still, I don't know. Maybe it's helpful. Esther Josephine Trinidad says, just wanted to thank you again. I'm almost now a month into HRT and been living as trans for 2 months, and finding your videos were part of what helped me come out. I can't help but feel that the me I was in the last few years was someone else entirely, to the point where I don't even mentally identify pictures of myself from age 15 to even 7 months ago as being me. 7 months ago being when I started presenting more androgynously. Do you experience anything similar to this when you first started your transition? Sweaty, I'm still experiencing it. It's like psychedelic weirdness to look at. I mean, I do this as little as possible, but to see pictures of yourself from like 4 years ago and be like, that's not me. Don't know who that is. I mean, I think I get gender transition, like it's about as deep an identity crisis as it is possible to have. And so I think it makes sense that you come out the other side of that feeling like a different person, because in some sense you are a different person. So yeah, that's, prepare for more of that is what I would say, because it does fuck with your head 100%. I mean, I deal with it just sort of basically by avoiding it. I mean, at some point, I'm probably gonna have to confront. There's this Joan Didion quote that it's worth staying on nodding terms with the person you used to be. And I'm very much not on those terms with the person I used to be, and I don't know if I ever will be. But I don't know. For now, I'm not interested in reopening that mental relationship, but there might come some day when I feel like I will be more at peace psychologically if I sort of to use the John Didion's phrase, like if I can become on nodding terms with that guy. Smiling Cat says, hi, glad to hear you're well. First question under this nickname. So, one thing you tried following a name one thing you tried following a recommendation on an AMA that you really liked. Let's see. Nothing's coming immediately to mind off the top of my head, in part because it's very difficult for me to remember what things I was recommended on AMAs. But oh, here's one. People kept telling me to listen to 100 Gex, and I started listening to their completely Coconuts music on YouTube, and I basically stan. So that's one thing. good to take breaths between questions. Remind me to breathe. Okay. Allegedly, Angelo says, thoughts on Comrade Brittany? We stand. And yes, I'm painfully aware that I'm wasting a perfectly placed opportunity to ask you to step on my neck here. Love ya, stay true to yourself, and thank you for existing. Thank you, Angelo. Yeah, I stand Comrade Brittany. I assume we all do. Is there gonna be a question? I think I saw there's gonna be a question about Madonna later on, so I'm gonna save my takes on that for that question. Okay. Foucault, but with hair, says favorite member of the BA test kitchen. What is the BA test kitchen? Am I stupid? Oh, Bon Appetit. I don't watch that. Oh my god, everyone always tell me to watch, everyone constantly tell me to watch that. Like, Lindsay would be very disappointed in me right now because she's always telling me to watch that. I really am gonna have to watch. Okay, so ask me about that next time. That can be the new thing that someone recommended on a live stream that I get into. The chat has many opinions. Okay. Some fanatical Claire stands. Well, it sounds like I better watch this. Jeffrey Skarsky says, how do you define a line when it comes to these AMA questions? You mean as in a line that can be crossed? Well, it's kind of subjective to me. Like, I think that any like super sexual questions, I tend to, that tends to cross the line. Any questions about like weird shit in my past from before I transitioned, I don't like answering those questions. But other than that, I don't know, it's not really an official line. Just use common sense. Oh, someone says a line is in a 4-line limit. Well, it's just like what I see in my screen, which I guess maybe this is not the best way, because I guess maybe it depends on like it depends on like the size of your browser window, but just like 4 lines of text, like just common sense about what that is. Okay. No almonds and no almonds and they use dark chocolate. Like, what the fuck, aren't Mounds bars just the most pointless things ever? I like dark chocolate. Hey, how are you? I don't know why you're hating on dark chocolate. I agree they should have almonds though. What I want is dark chocolate almond joys. I'm pretty sure that is a thing. What color was Napoleon's white horse? Purple. Hey, shit's fucking weird. It's definitely weird here. How are you holding up out there? I'm doing my best. I think I feel very, very lucky right now, basically, because Nixie is texting me to say that Claire is the best person, and I need, okay. Yeah, I'm doing fine. I'm like a little worried, I'm a little worried about my family, because there's I'm sure all of us, this is true for all of us, but like there's members of my family that are like very likely to die if they get coronavirus. So, I don't know, I guess I'm proud of myself for being really strict about self-quarantine while I was sick, and you know, I'm just trying not to think, honestly, I'm like just trying not to think about it all the time, because that's, it's just not productive. But obviously I'm failing at that. Tamala Pranovic says, hey Nat, glad to see you're feeling better. What is the dumbest fight argument you remember getting into? Oh boy. Let's see. Well, pretty much every argument that I had, like, when I was like a philosophy student. I mean, although the thing is like that by the time I was a philosophy grad student, I hated it. I hated this shit. And I knew the arguments were dumb and I wasn't interested in having them anymore. But I would say almost everything that like undergrad philosophy students think is super important is actually dumb. And I don't want to disparage it too much because I think it's important to go through that stage where you're like, is morality objective or relative? Do we have free will? Like, what's the nature of reality? Like, it's important to go through those stages if you're a precocious 20-year-old. But by the time you're 25, you need to realize all those questions are dumb. They're dumb and they don't matter. So stop it. But if you're like 22, or if you're like 19, you have to take those questions seriously so that you can be 25 and understand that they're stupid questions. Stupid arguments. Okay. Epri Jeffstein says, many people are convinced they have to vote for the lesser evil. Socialists often say that no, don't let the less evil party take your vote for granted. Withholding your vote is the power you have. Voting for them would keep them sliding towards evil, and so on. This argument doesn't seem to work at all with normies. Why is that? Are people just so conservative and fearful? Was that cultivated by mainstream media, even for young online people? I think maybe I'm a normie in this scenario because I do think that, well, here's what I think. I just think that like the number of socialists, as you say, is not significant enough to affect an election one way or another. So this is the whole game is basically trying to win over the libs. So really all that, like, in retrospect, here's another regret I have. Like, all of our effort should have been on this primary. And I don't know why I wasn't following it super closely until the very end. I think because I just couldn't stand it 2 years away from the election to already be thinking about politics all the time. But I'm not happy with Joe Biden coming out on top. I really don't like Joe Biden. And I'll fucking vote for him because that's how much I hate Donald Trump. But I'll not be happy about it. So maybe I'm a normie, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about the Supreme Court, I'm thinking about, well, whatever. I would really love to have a president who doesn't habitually grope underage girls. That would be super great. Maybe someday. Imagine that feminist utopia. Kyle Femano says, do you have any advice for someone who is struggling and growing more dysphoric each day while they wait to start hormones? Corona canceled my comeback appointment, lol. Well, that sucks, I guess, first of all. My heart really goes out to all the trans people who, like, have had to, like, delay important medical procedures or even straight up delay their own transition because of the epidemic. Like, I mean, I've been affected by it a little in that I had a GRS consultation that's looking like it's gonna have to be pushed back many months, which is not a big deal for me because I'm undecided on that anyway. My consultation was just kind of to, like, scope it out. But you know, I have a close friend who's trans who had to delay her FFS indefinitely, and it sucks if the stage you're at is you haven't started hormones yet. Start working on your voice every day. Do half an hour of work on your voice. Watch YouTube videos about voice training. Listen to your voice. Listen to how women speak. Listen to, you know, recordings of your voice. Yeah, you're gonna hate it. It's gonna be terrible. Good. Consign yourself to 30 minutes of voice misery a day. Get in the habit of it. That is the beginning of. That's the beginning of. Because the voice is really important. It's the most I feel like it's like the most underrated part of the most like underemphasized part of a transition, but it's very it's possibly the most important thing when it comes to passing, and hormones do absolutely nothing for voice. So get to work on that as soon as possible, and you can do that while quarantined. So that's my suggestion. If I don't know if that's helpful to you. Like I'm trying to put myself in your place and thinking like I would be going crazy wanting to do something to feel like I'm making progress on my transition, and that would help me. I would think is to feel like, well, look, if I can, you know, what if I can have a passable voice even before I start hormones? That would be amazing. So I suggest working on that. Sorry, that was man cough. Speaking of voice, I think we all have man cough. I don't know. I guess if I have like a really delicate cough, I can do it like try to do a high larynx cough, but I literally just choked. There's no such thing as an effeminate choke. that goes straight to man sounds. Oh, I do have a high femme sneeze. I have a straight up Princess Peach sneeze. That compensates for it. There's definitely a way to femininely choke. What, die? George Flower says, hey, how are you? Hashtag blue no matter who. Thoughts? Also, thank you for entertaining me and telling me about shit. Love your work. Thanks, George. Well, I mean, when it comes down to election day, yes, blue no matter who is my philosophy. That is not really my primary philosophy, though. Like, I would rather, sorry, I'm laughing at how how the chat is fucking dragging me, telling me to work on my fat coughing for 30 minutes a day after I just man coughed at you guys after fucking lecturing you about voice training. I mean, it's blue no matter who on election day, but I think that I don't know. These are my thoughts. Isaac Dye says, hey, Gorge, do you have any recommendations for novels to read while social distancing and slowly going insane due to lack of social contact? Well, this isn't something I've read recently, but you could try reading Murakami. I know that's kind of a cat girl book recommendation. Kind of a like bisexual coffee drinker recommendation. if you know what I mean. Like a let's get ramen kind of bisexual recommendation, but like, I don't know. It's kind of fantasy literature that's not too, not too. I don't know. I would find it relaxing to read that right now, I would think. So, the one I've read is Kafka on the Shore. I think because I had Kafka in the title, and I like Kafka, so I was like, oh, I'll read this. I remembered enjoying it. Okay. Beth Thomas says, hello, madam. Do you ever only get dressed above the waist when appearing on camera for your work? I'm hoping you'll make me feel better about my own conduct in these super fucking dark times. I rarely do that. I would say that, and in fact, I am in fact dressed below the waist at the moment. What I do sometimes is wear, like if I'm filming a video and I know that it's only going to be waist up, I will be wearing something that totally doesn't match. It like totally breaks the fantasy below the waist. Although actually I try not to even do that because it distracts me. It pulls me out of the fantasy. If I look down and I'm like wearing like, I don't know, if I'm wearing like a really like frilly like blouse or whatever on top, and then I'm wearing like, I don't know, like leopard print leggings or something, like that's not, it just pulls me out of the mood, you know? So I try not to do it, but there's definitely been videos where I've been wearing something like ludicrous on the bottom half of my body. Like I'll be wearing like shorts when it's like totally doesn't fit what I'm wearing on top to be wearing shorts. Okay. Vix Ataraxia says, hello Nat, glad to hear you're better. I would like to hear your thoughts on epistocracy and whether democracy is really the best form of government. Okay, well, I actually have never heard the word epistocracy before, but I'm going to assume from the etymology that it means rule by the knowledgeable, rule by experts. I've been thinking about, I've been having some kind of platonic misery about democracy lately, because it does seem like the weaker defeats the better argument in the public square and everything's doomed. So the thought has occurred to me, especially that when it comes to, you know, a pandemic situation, like I said earlier in the stream, let the epidemiologists run the country for a month. Like, I think there's, I mean, we sort of have something like that, right? Like once you elect a government, the government appoints people who are supposed to be experts to run certain things, right? Now, so sometimes that doesn't work when you end up having people who are not experts running things. Like when you have what the fuck is that guy's name? The Texas guy, the Rick, the guy is the head of the EPA. Not Rick Santorum. My brain just broke. Rick Perry, thank you. Running the EPA, that's obviously a disaster. Texas Rick Astley, yeah. I do think though that like the problem with that is like democracy is there for a reason, and it's pretty obvious to see how when you have like a handful of experts running things, like, and they're not accountable to like people the way that can be, I don't know. It's kind of like Aristotle said, right? Like lots of different types of government, like all government types work except when they don't, right? Like if you have a good king, monarchy is great. But if you don't, then it becomes tyranny. If you have like a good, collective of a few people running the country, the aristocracy is great. But if not, then you have oligarchy. And what does he call it? A polity. a good Democrat, a good Republican state. But if you have mob rule, then you get democracy, and no one wants that. So I don't know. I guess there's no. I guess. Is your question, do I believe in democracy? I don't know if I can answer that within the scope of a 60-second response to a question on a live stream, but I think mixed feelings, mixed reviews. That's my general take on democracy. I'm still embarrassed that I coughed like a man. Delete that part of the stream. No. I hate it. Robert Cates says, "Hi Natalie, love you. I should probably keep this sunny with what's going on, but fuck it. Oh, no obligation whatsoever. Did you ever think that during your lifetime the choices for president, not counting third party, would be between two sexual predators? Also, if I may ask, no biggie if you don't answer, what do you think about how Tara Reid was treated by Time's Up? Thanks." Okay, so did I ever think that I would be choosing between two sexual predators? Honestly, at this point, I'm not even surprised. I think, like, I have a growing sense of what could be called feminist rage at the way that it has become real obvious in the last few years that this country is just not even close to ready to be able to handle women in power. And not only that, it seems like you actually have to be some kind of sexual predator to even qualify for the position. So, yeah, I'm pretty irritated by that aspect of this. I have to say, it gets under my skin. And every woman is allowed to tweet "men are trash" once in the next year because we've earned it, goddammit. What do I think about how Tara Reid was treated by Time's Up? I actually don't know. I don't know enough about like what Time's Up is. I guess because the reason that they couldn't like help her was that they said that like their status as like a non-profit would be threatened if they took up a case that involved a presidential candidate. I don't know to what extent that is true. If it is true, I can see how it really sucks that they couldn't help her, but I can see how their hands could be tied. So I don't know. I'm taking my first steps towards lesbian separatism. Yeah, I guess so. I had a lot of bad experiences with men in the last year or two. There's some good ones. My patience persists a while longer. Okay. Dan Cole says, someone on Facebook responded negatively to a pro-Bernie article I shared, which led to a series of bizarre, objectivist, anti-socialist ranting. Oh no. I thought, cool, finally someone I can de-radicalize with ContraPoints. I sent him the capitalism vids, but amidst the largely transphobic reaction, the closest thing to substance in his response was that he found the video offensive because it maligns lizards. How am I supposed to respond to such a reductio ad reptilium? Unfriend him! Click the unfriend. Wow. This is why I don't get into Facebook arguments. Alice says, "Hi Natalie, I'm a licensed mental health counselor and I was thinking of making a YouTube channel offering advice on coping with all this coronavirus craziness. I'm also a non-binary trans woman and perform as a genderfuck drag queen. Do you think I should dress like I typically do for work or get creative with my makeup and presentation?" Well, it kind of depends on what kind of video you want to make. Like, if you want to just make a dry video about like serious mental health shit, it would probably be distracting to be in like full like genderfuck drag. But I don't know, if you have like an idea of how to like incorporate that into a video to liven things up, then I say go for it. Riley Dosh says, "From a creator standpoint, how do video translations work? I submitted a translation for someone else's video and it's taking forever to be approved by somebody." I did try to translate one of your vids, but fuck, there's a lot of content in your videos. Yeah, so I would say that, basically what happens on my end is I have to manually check each video, like in the community tab or the translations tab, I think, in the Creator Studio, to see if translations are there, and then I can look at the translations and improve them. So I have to remember, in other words, to check individual videos, which I try to do about once a month, but I tend to only go back about a year through the videos to check. You could send them a message or leave them a comment, especially if they're a smaller YouTuber that will probably notice this, letting them know that you've done the translation, and then remind them to go check on it. I actually need to do this. I haven't looked for a while, so I actually need to do this. Maybe I'll do it tonight after the stream, because I'm sure there's new translations of Shame that I haven't approved yet. So I should do that. Yeah, my videos are hard to translate. I think about that sometimes when I'm writing my videos, and I'm like, God help the poor translators. They were trying to like figure out how to take this weird patois of incel jargon and gay slang and somehow work it into the Turkish language. Like, I don't know how they do it, but I admire anyone who attempts. Jessica Schneider says, "Hi Natalie, I've been doing voice therapy for about 6 months now, and I think I've made pretty good progress, but I don't know when to say I'm done and stop the lesson. What do you think about this? Lots of love, Jessica." Well, done is when you're satisfied with your voice, basically. So, are you satisfied with your voice? Do you like the way your voice sounds, at least well enough? And is it like, can you get gendered correctly on the phone? If yes to those questions, then I'd say you're done. But if not, then it can be worth, it depends on like how much you like your voice teacher and like how effective you think that is, because at a certain point you kind of can like just keep working on your own. Like voice teachers can be great, but like once they've sort of taught you the basic techniques that you need, I find that I'm kind of at a point with because to me, like, I'm 2.5 years into transition. And I have been working on my voice for the same amount of time. I feel like I'm not quite done yet. And I'm at a point, though, where I still have a little bit of work to do on the physical side of things, like, thinking about resonance and all that. But I actually find that for the last year anyway, the more helpful thing, the more critical thing is actually not like working on the larynx and all that kind of stuff, but is literally just listening to women's voices I like and listening to recordings of my own voice and like working on basically imitating female voices that I like. And I think that kind of practice, almost like you're learning an instrument or learning a language, is more helpful than obsessing over like frequencies and stuff like that. I mean, that can be sort of helpful guidance, but like you want a natural sounding female voice. And like, oh my god, I just if I listen to videos of mine from like 2 years ago, I cringe so hard at that fake ass falsetto sounding screeching I was doing. and I think that, you know, it takes a lot of time to get to a point where it sounds really natural and where you're not thinking about it. So I would say you probably need to keep working on it based on if you've only been working for 6 months, but you could decide on whether what you might, I don't know, you may not need to continue seeing a teacher. That's up to you. Not a super helpful answer right now. Okay, I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. Enjoy the calmness. I drank some cough syrup while I was at it. Let's see if that helps to stifle my clockable man choking. Here we go. I'm listening to all Zoe Blade today on the stream. This has been Zoe Blade's album, Hello Calm, that we've been listening to on repeat. Okay. Apollo says, just Apollo, like the god. Should the Geneva Convention ban tickle torture? Oh, I think probably. You know, that's degeneracy. We don't want that in Western civilization. I should think. Music to take a Valium by. I wish I had a Valium. I'm out of benzos, guys. What am I gonna do? It's for the best. I've been pretty clean drug-wise, except I'm almost out of edibles. Fuck. Does anyone in Baltimore have edibles? Can you drop them off on my doorstep? Thanks. Okay. A Studios says that I feel like did I answer the tickle torture question adequately? I think I did. A Studios says, now that I've splurged on my pledge, I can ask the questions I've had for years. Can you talk a bit about the choice to bring back Tiffany from TERFs and Tiffany Tumbles, and later, rather than creating a new character? I always thought her face heel turn was one of your most interesting creative choices. Well, that actually was not my idea. It was the idea of Nick C, who's been texting me and watching the stream, and who has been in the credits of some of my videos, and who's kind of the mystery force behind some of this stuff. But yeah, he suggested that to me. And because I was gonna make it a new character, and I thought it was a good suggestion, so I guess I kind of tried to, when I was writing it, you know, I sort of decided to have the idea of, oh, it was gonna be this character who had started off a naive basic tran and then sort of turned into a self-hater, which, you know, I can't imagine where my inspiration for that came from. You know, I can't imagine what it's like to be a self-hating trans person. Like, it's just such a foreign mindset to me. It's just a difficult work of imagination, you know. Okay. P. Swarbrick says, I'm just thinking if I answered that last question adequately. I think I did. The truth is that someone else suggested to me the phase heel turn, and and I liked it, so I went with it. P.S. Swarbrick says, would you ever consider the idea of allowing fans/colleagues recreate your old videos? Do you think it would trigger your dysphoria? If it would, don't do it. The message the videos would convey would not be worth the distress it would cause you. You mean like doing a cover? A cover of a YouTube video? Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea inherently, though I think it's a little weird. But if you want to do it, I mean, go for it. Like, I don't think that's going to be dysphoria inducing for people to record their own versions of my scripts, though I've never heard of such a thing. And I sort of don't know how, honestly, I don't know how I would feel about it. I suppose it depends how it's done. Oh no, we're playing with hair. That's why I wear the headbands. The headbands are supposed to stop me from playing with it. Glad to hear you recovered from your illness. Hope you're safe during all this. Thanks, you too. Dapper Sappho says, did you ever work in retail? If so, what is your most bizarre customer service story? Ooh, yes. Well, yes. I worked at I used to work at a bike rental stand, and that involved some like point of service work. And yeah, you just learn, like, working customer service or retail, you just learn all the dark truths of human nature. Like, we're talking about Kafka. Like, Kafka can tell you nothing that working at retail for a couple months will tell you. Won't tell you. Like, Yeah, let's see if I can come up with a good story here. Racism. I experienced a ton of racism, and not directed at me, but I had my manager was a black woman. At the time, I was presenting as a white man, and there was a couple occasions when people would demand to speak with me as if I was the manager, when in fact I was the employee. And that shit is very real. God, people are awful. They're horrible. The Karens love to pull a little racism. Yes, they do. I mean, the more interesting part of this job is the segue. This later led to the segue tour guide job, which I'm sure we've talked about on these streams before. And there's a lot of stories that are like totally coconut stories related to the segue tour guide thing. Like the injury stories, I once gave, because I was a tour guide in DC, bikes and segways on the National Mall. That's what this job was. Also doing rentals for them. And I worked up from rentals to being a tour guide. And when I was a tour guide, yeah, you'd have to listen to your clients' political ramblings on tour. And, you know, you're working for tips, basically, so you kind of had to put up with their bullshit. I had this one woman, oh my god, she spent the entire tour talking about the rapture and how Jesus is coming back soon. And I'm like taking her around the fucking Capitol building, and she's like, well, you know, this was like 2012. She's like, well, Obama, Romney, of course, none of this matters because the Lord is coming to retrieve us all soon and the world's gonna end. So, you know, I'm not planning on voting, and I don't think anyone else should either. I was just like, okay, well, it's very interesting that, like, why are you even not on tour? Like, go home and pray, you crazy, crazy person. She thought the 2016 election wasn't gonna happen. Or she thought the 2012 election wasn't gonna happen. Okay, let's see. Joseph Rojas says, really glad to hear you're feeling better. 10 days is a long time to be sick. Yeah, it's been tiring. Are there any organizations you may donate to as a result of the pandemic? Good question. I actually don't know, like, what the best place to give to would be. Does anyone have any suggestions? Leave some in the comments, because I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know, like, what the ideal, most helpful place to donate is, but that would be good to know. Adam Wright says, since you were playing Chopin to maybe escape the quarantine madness, what's your favorite piece of his? Oh, I really like that Nocturne I was playing. I just started working on that because I remember I decided to work on it actually when I was on one of these Patron streams. Do you remember the stream where I was listening to the Chopin Nocturnes and that one came on, that Opus 9 #1, and I like made everyone listen to it and turn the volume up and like had a little moment with it? That made me decide to learn it because I was like, I love this piece so much. I like that one. I like the nocturnes in general. I like the waltzes. I like the preludes. I'm not so big on the etudes. Just too many notes. Like, I think like Bach can get away with writing that many notes, but if you're not Bach, you should write fewer notes. I don't know. That's just my thoughts. Like, look at Satie. So few notes, and yet so effective. I do like Chopin, yeah. Like I said earlier in the stream, I really want to get better at piano, so I can play. Oh, the preludes. Like, do you know the I think it's Prelude 24 in D minor. Really dramatic. Is it in D minor? I think it's in D minor. Super dramatic. Oh, in 23, the B flat major, I think is B flat major. Because they go in, it's like the circle of fifths? I should learn the preludes. That would be a fun little project. Joshua Analyx says, what is the world's foremost authority on filming? Oh, as the world's foremost authority on filming yourself in the bathtub, how do you evaluate Madonna's contribution to this genre? Okay, I'm glad someone asked. Oh my god, I saw that video and like immediately I sent it to Theron because I was like, we need to discuss what I'm seeing here. I just thought, I mean, it's terrible, but also hilarious. I love that post. Like, it's just, because it's so crazy. Like, she's just sitting like crouched in the bathtub rambling about how coronavirus is the great equalizer. It's completely coconuts. I think she did a pretty good job with it. I mean, the video was great. Like, I really want to take a milk and rose petal bath like that. The things that she was saying were not great, but the bath was amazing. Like 10 out of 10. Like better than any of the baths I've filmed. Like, I need to get a new apartment with a better bath, so I can take milk and rose baths with rose petals and make videos in them. Will Davis says, what can you do when you are so afraid of talking about your problems that you're afraid of telling them even to your psychologist? I had 3 attempts of discussing my issues with 3 different ones that I've never went for a second session with the same one. I constantly avoid disclosing my biggest fears, and I end up suffering for this. Well, I am myself kind of a habitual therapist ghoster. So I sympathize. I know the feeling. Yeah, I would say, like, next time you go in, like, the biggest problem, like, do not let yourself go out of there without mentioning it. Like, I would say, okay, here's one thing you could do. You could write the problem down, and at the beginning of the session, you could say, hey, I have trouble talking to therapists about things, so there's something written on this paper that we have to talk about before the end of the session, so just make sure that I bring this up, and then give them the piece of paper. That's just something I made up, but maybe that'll work. Yeah, it's worth telling your therapist that you have this problem. Ryan Hillier says, hi Natalie, so glad to hear you're feeling well again. Thank you. Do you get a sense that this epidemic has the potential to create more cultural political polarization or less? Well, either, obviously, I guess. But what I think that the way I feel like at the moment it's creating more, less polarization, more unity, because it is such a unifying experience. I don't know. I feel like I see a lot of people on the same page about this, although, you know, it's also incredibly high stress and it's incredibly sort of traumatic, and that tends to create tension and create polarization. So we have to kind of see, like, how it evolves or devolves from here. Someone in the chat says, as an Asian American, it's definitely creating more. Yeah, I think that probably is, well, I mean, definitely racism becomes more virulent when, virulent, maybe not the best choice of words. Well, why not? It becomes more virulent when there's a crisis. People become reactive. They can become reactionary. So yeah, that aspect obviously has been horrible. I don't know. Maybe it's creating more polarization. I don't know. It's hard to say based on like my Twitter feed or like whatever, my little window in the world, like what's happening. Asking for a friend says, hi Natalie, I hope that you're feeling better. If you had a dinner party for only your favorite people, how many place settings would you need? Probably like 10. I don't think I have more than 10 favorite people. Sean Savage says, what's your favorite documentary? My favorite one is about a poor minority looking to find a special purpose titled The Jerk. Lord loves a working man, don't trust Whitey. If you get it, see a doctor and get rid of it. Okay, I will assume that I'm going to pretend that the first part of the question is serious and you're actually asking what my favorite documentary is. Well, I don't know. Should I take this serious or not? Yeah, my favorite documentary is Melancholia by Lars von Trier. I think it's really just touching recording of the way the world is going to end. Okay, if you're serious, I think it's Grizzly Man. I love how it's like, I've probably talked about Grizzly Man before. Werner Herzog. I like Werner Herzog's documentaries in general. Okay. Jacob Michael says, hey, Gorge. No question. Just wanted to tell you that you're great and wonderful. I'm super inspired by you and your work. Sending you positive vibes, Sweaty. Thank you, Jacob. You're great and wonderful. So, here we go. Najib K says, hi, Natalie. Hope you're feeling well. So one idea of trans feminism is that a society who hates women will discriminate against trans women as having chosen womanhood. I felt some parallels to this with being a convert to Islam. Many people are sympathetic-ish to people who grew up Muslim, but have disdain for someone who converted, as picking something seen as undesirable. I was curious what you thought of the comparison. Well, I guess I initially sort of recoiled away from it because I'm like, I didn't choose to. Well, I guess earlier I did say I was a woman by choice, but in a sense, like being trans, like a woman by choice, but like a fairly compelled choice, right? Because like the condition of being trans, I think, is not a choice, and I guess, but I guess that's not really relevant to the question you're asking because you're saying it's seen as a choice. Yeah, I do think that part of trans misogyny is the idea that a person who was a man failed at being so much that they sunk to being a woman, and that deserves a lot of disdain. Like, there's definitely an element of that. So I can see what the parallel is. I think that, I don't know, I think misogyny and Islamophobia are pretty different, but I think that I see what you're saying. I think there definitely is something there. Lugnut92 says, hi Natalie, I'm glad you're feeling better. You've used the opening bars of Grieg's Piano Concerto in a couple of your videos, and I was wondering what you think of it as a whole. It's probably my favorite piece, and it's always exciting to hear it out in the wild. Hope quarantine isn't getting you too down. Yeah, it's a lovely piece of music. It's actually not one I'm super familiar with, apart from those opening bars, which I've turned into a meme for my channel. But it's a beautiful piece of music. And the drama of those opening chords. Amelia Maloney says, "Hey, Gorge. Last month I shared that I was going to be starting HRT, but well, with COVID, looks like that is going to be pushed off even more, which has really made me pretty depressed lately. I was really waiting on the HRT to start transition, but I can't wait anymore. Any suggestion on what I could start to work on now while waiting?" Wow, like I said earlier in the stream, voice training. HRT will not do anything for you for voice, so get to work on that ASAP. That's my advice. That's the one thing you can do in a quarantine. That and, like, you know, working on like makeup or something. Keep growing your hair out. I don't know. I guess if you want to have long hair, I guess you can be a woman and not have long hair. It's been known to happen, but trans women usually at least at first grow their hair. Oh god, am I canceled? Yeah, voice training. That's really my number one recommendation for what to work on before HRT, because it's just gonna be incredibly helpful once you start presenting. Jake says, "Can we pray, Gorge? Dark Mother, whomst art on YouTube, sweaty be thy name. Thy queendom come, thou look'st great hun. For thy surgeon art an artist. Pour us this day our daily tea, and forgive us our shade throwing, as we dish on those who have thrown shade against us. And lead us not into cancellation, but deliver us from fascists. For thine is the standum and the mouthfeel and the content forever. Like and subscribe." That's very cute, Jake. Have you been working on that for a while? It's very good. My tea is getting cold and I'm almost out of it. Fuck. Rachel Ann says, "So, when do you think you will do your first 24-hour long AMA? Does the trend extrapolation alarm you? It alarms me." It alarms me slightly. I think that I don't think it's gonna get to 24 hours though. I mean, I don't know. If it gets to a point where it takes 7 hours to answer all the questions, then we might have to, I don't know, split it into 2 streams or something. So I'm sure we'll cross the bridge when we get to it. Sarah Jeanette Jin says, "Hey, Gorge, I'm glad you're feeling better. Have you had the chance to watch Euphoria yet?" No, I haven't. I know I should. You should watch that in my sick state. Well, it's still on the list. I know I did the feminine cough that time. Because, see, I can do a feminine cough if I have preparation. But with choking, I had no preparation, so I couldn't raise my larynx in time. Tragic. Wolin says, "Hi, Natalie. No question. Just glad to hear you're feeling better. I hope your voice is okay after reading all of this. P.S. Love the outtakes." Thanks, Willin. Yeah, my voice is doing okay. Could probably use some more tea soon, so we'll take a little tea break. But I am feeling better, thank you. I hope you're staying safe. Is the chat talking about feminine vomiting? I don't know. I don't know if I can feminine vomit. Should I try? Well, okay. James Chesson says, "Hey, how are you? Do you think the current global shit show will make people more receptive to socialist ideas or less? Trying to find something positive out of all this." Well, yeah, I'm trying to stay positive too. Like when I answered that other question and I was like, maybe it's gonna make us less polarized. And then the chat was like, I'm Asian American, actually no. So I guess while I like to think that it's gonna make people realize, oh, we need universal healthcare, fuck. The reality of the situation is that Trump's approval ratings have gone up. And I think there's that like that crisis, oh, we have to rally behind the president thing. I don't know why his approval ratings went up, but it's not promising. But I'm with you, James, on pretending that everything's gonna be fine. This is gonna be the thing that fixes the world. It's all gonna be worth it. No. Andrew L. Batula says, "Hi Natalie, happy to hear you're feeling better. What are you drinking to get through all this burgeoning pandemic? For me, it's gin and tonic with a splash of grapefruit juice." That sounds really good. Best of luck to you and yours, Use Gorge. Well, like I said, I have not been drinking booze the last couple weeks. I've been sick, but as soon as I go back to it, a gin and tonic with grapefruit sounds amazing. Yeah, I'm drinking tea. Specifically, what is this? Supreme Matcha Green tea. It's kind of the perfect thing to sip during a stream. IMHO. Dave Mulcahy says, "Hi Natalie, any thoughts on the likelihood of Biden winning the nomination and what this entails for the general? I hope you feel 100% soon." Well, you hate to call it before it's over. And Biden's not been helping his case by being sort of useless in the last few weeks. But it does look like there's a pretty good chance that he's going to win. And what that entails for the general, I don't think anything good. I think Trump's going to win again if it's Biden. Let's hope not. But that's my honest expectation. And I know I shouldn't say that because it's demoralizing, and I'm not supposed to be demoralizing people. But I don't know, I don't work for the campaign. I can demoralize people if I want to. I don't know, I'm sort of torn between, like, because I worked on campaigns before. I worked on Obama's campaign. You're supposed to keep morale high. And I'm kind of not doing that right now, but I don't know. This is not a campaign rally. This is a private live stream. These are my thoughts. Like, comment, and subscribe. Yeah, Biden's gonna lose. That's the worst part of this. Yeah, I kind of agree that, like, we're gonna go through the humiliating ordeal of having to support Joe Biden, and then he's gonna lose anyway. That's a good way to put it. Okay. Well done, me. Well done on articulating the despair. Just Gallant Genius says, "Hi Natalie, do you think LGBT plus people in general know better who they are as a person and what they want?" No. Or is it just their sexuality or gender they are more aware of? Bonus question, is a political shitposter J-Reg on your radar? Well, I think that, here's what I'll say. I think LGBT people have thought much more about their gender and sexuality than cisheads have. So I think we're sort of more thoughtful on that topic, but do we know who we are more? No. In fact, in some ways we may know who we are less because it's so confusing. So I think that like a lot of LGBT people have, wow, I just slurred through that acronym. LGBT people have a kind of extended adolescence because it takes longer to figure out who the fuck you are and what the fuck you're doing. And that makes a lot of us kind of like adults, 16-year-olds for a long time. So there's that. Okay, is the political shitposter J-Rig on your radar? Yes, I have seen some of his videos. I especially remember the one about LeftTube, which of course I have seen. Gabriella Youngme 69 says, "Hi Natalie, glad you're feeling better. Attached for your relaxation is Bernie Sanders' 8.5-hour filibuster to lo-fi beats. Are you aware that he follows you on Twitter? And if you could have a brief conversation with him, what would you say / talk about?" Yes, I've seen that stream before. I won't listen to it now because I don't know if it's copyright protected or not. But yeah, I am aware he follows me. His account follows me anyway because his campaign staffers like me, and I have actually talked to I've been in talks with the campaign for a while about doing some kind of collab with him. Like I was gonna do this last summer actually. We were gonna during Pride Month I was supposed to do a thing with him on Capitol Hill. We were gonna record a video collab of me and Bernie, and it ended up not happening because I don't know, he got busy, you know, running a campaign or whatever. Yeah, but yeah, they were actually gonna we were talking about doing this video. They were gonna let me bring colored lights into his fucking office and have bisexual lighting Bernie, and they were totally fine with that. And it's too bad that video never got made, but I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe you haven't heard the last of this idea. Could still happen. What would we talk about? Oh, we were gonna talk about trans rights and LGBT acceptance in general. Madeline Cannon says, "Hey Gorge. If your characters were running for president, who would win the Democratic primary, who would win the Republican primary, and who would win the general election?" Well, Jackie Jackson would win the Democratic primary. I don't know if any of my characters would win a Republican primary. I mean, Jackie wouldn't because she's a woman. Freya wouldn't because she's a trans woman. And a little too much of a Nazi, I think, for even the Republicans. Tiffany Tumbles is a trans woman. She wouldn't win because she wouldn't be a Republican primary because she's a trans woman. And a trans woman would never win any primary, but definitely not the Republican one. Even if I don't know. I feel like Jackie Jackson would win. It would be Jackie Jackson. That's what America gets, you know. America gets a series of Jackie Jacksons. Someone in this chat said Caitlyn Jenner would win the GOP primary. No, she would not. Are you kidding me? Okay. Adam Lang says, "Glad to hear you're feeling better. What are your thoughts on the morality of ordering delivery during the COVID-19 outbreak? Is it better to avoid it and negatively impact the livelihood of delivery drivers, or help provide them with extra cash and increase the risk of their risk of exposure?" So I have been doing some delivery. Here's what I do. I ask them to leave it outside my door so that they don't actually have to come into any contact with me at all, and then I tip them a lot. I think if you do that, if you have a way of you're literally just asking. I mean, I guess they still have to contact with the restaurant, so there's some risk there, but I'd say that if you're having them, if you're tipping a lot through the app, and you are not getting close, like physically close to them, I don't really see a problem with that. Maybe I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that seems okay to me. Lavina or Lavina Johnson, I think Lavina Johansson, wow, names, says, "Hi Natalie, I'm so glad you're feeling better. No question this time. Just wanted to tell you how much I loved 1, the outtakes. Thank you. 2, your Chopin video from Instagram, and 3, your sexy AF thirst trap photo. Stay safe, healthy, and sane with this stay-at-home order. Thank you. You too." I'm glad you liked the outtakes. Vincent Thierry says, "Hey Natalie, wait, no, I skipped one. Fuck." Zoe Roth says, "Hi Nat, I am so happy to hear that you're feeling better. My question is super serious this time. My question is, how do we fight back against so many things that are causing despair right now? From COVID, social and physical isolation, Lorena Borjas passing, Idaho instituting anti-trans laws. We are all hurting. Combine this with my best friend, dog, of 15 years dying. And I'm across the country and can't be there. Love you." Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Zoe. Wow. How do we fight back against misery? Well, I mean, you just have to see that there's light at the end of these tunnels, you know? Like, life is hard. Human history is full of horrible unhappiness, but there's these moments of glory, and that's what you have to live for. And take it a day at a time. Find a moment of the day that's worth living, makes it worth living, and just try to get to the next day. I wish I had something better to say there. How to fight back against the misery of the world. Well, consume good art. Get enough sleep, exercise. Just keep going, you know. Sorry to hear about your dog. That sucks. Tragedy has a way of compounding, doesn't it? Vincent Thierry says, "Hey Natalie, what was your favorite part of Disneyland this time around? Glad you're feeling better." Well, not not coronavirus. That I could have done without. My favorite part of Disneyland, was getting to see the Star Wars land with Jenny. My favorite part was going to Disneyland with Jenny Nicholson. Are you kidding me? Like, I kept having this crazy realization that going to Disneyland with Jenny and having her be tour guide and point out all the Disney facts and history, that is a $10,000 experience. That could be literally a $10,000 Patreon reward, and I felt very, very satisfied that I was getting to do it for free. Because we also watched, she was also willing to indulge me in watching Escape from Tomorrow with her commentary, which that was a nice, that was fun too. And also I got her into what's that guy's name? The wizard from my video from 2 years ago. Magog. We watched so many Magog videos. But yeah, the Star Wars Cantina. We got to go to the Star Wars Cantina, and they had a robot DJ and Star Wars drinks, which that was fun. Oh, also, because the Star Wars Cantina, it's the only place where you can really get drunk in Disneyland, and I had this "You're Cancelled" fan that I was thwarping, and the robot DJ was playing dance music, and I was playing with my fan, and I thwarped it right at the drop. And this sounds like one of those like stories you read on like, you know, in the whole train cloud. But we were sitting at a table with a bunch of middle-aged gay men, and they did all, in fact, erupt into applause. that was a cute little moment. And then the whole train cloud. I was actually Albert Einstein. Servalant's stepdaughter says, "Glad you're okay. I consider you to be essential critical infrastructure. I tried my best. May I please know what shows or games you watched played when you were sick? Thank you." Well, I sort of mentioned that I was playing my phone games. I was playing I Love Hue, and I was playing a little bit of Skyrim when I was like, because what I was doing, I was taking edibles, because that's the only drug I feel like I can do when I'm sick, taking edibles and playing Skyrim. So I was doing that. I wasn't really watching any shows. I was what the fuck was I doing? It's kind of a blur the last 2 weeks. I don't know. I've been like trying to work on this video, and it's just going so slow. But I wasn't watching shows. No, I didn't have time for that. Sixth sheep says, cute. How would turning into a penguin for 30 seconds affect your life right now? Well, mostly that me turning into a penguin would be captured on live stream, and I could make viral content out of that. So that's how. Alexi Velez says, "Hey baby, the pandemic is exacerbating various social inequities that were already so deeply fucked. How do you recommend we support our neighbors through this crisis?" We've had some suggestions on this stream so far. See if you can bring groceries to people who need it. See if you can help local hospitals or things like that. I would say that's I feel like what me in the chat have come up with so far. So those are my thoughts. Those are my suggestions. Other people suggest participating in a rent strike. I guess it depends where you are. I don't know. I haven't really heard of anyone doing that in Baltimore. I don't know if it's going on. Quizoid says, "Wild card, what's a question no one has asked yet that you were hoping someone would? What's the answer?" Let's see. You're making me think of a question now. No one has asked. No one's asked why my hair looks better today. It's because I found a good conditioner that I love, and it's like an avocado oil, like super deep conditioner. And I use that in combination with a hair oil, and I feel like my hair has never been so soft and so shiny as it is right now, and I'm really enjoying it. So you asked me to come up with a question. That's what you got. Okay. Nathan Ellis says, "Do you have a particular fondness for Chopin? Have you ever seen the movie Impromptu?" No, I have not seen the movie Impromptu, but I do have a particular fondness for Chopin. Yeah, I think that like even though I tend to be more of a like Baroque classical kind of person, among the romantics composers for piano, I like Chopin the best. There's something kind of neoclassical or neo-Baroque about him. I mean, not really, but I don't know. It's just a feeling I have. There's like a perfection and like something classically beautiful about his composing. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't really articulate it. Bonus question: would you accept video submissions of piano performances by fans? Maybe. I've been talking about wanting to get a new piano and like I want to like learn how to mic a piano properly, and then I need to get better at playing the piano, and then I would like to do more piano in my life and in my content. So yeah, that is a general direction I want to go in. Marissa says, "Hey Gorge, love to see you pop up on shows like Rising and Hear the Burn. Think Bernie still has a chance? Keep up the great work and stay safe." It's not impossible. Joe Biden could, I don't know, get coronavirus or something. Not that I hope that happens. No, I hope Joe Biden doesn't die, but I do hope that he, I don't know, goes to jail for sexual misconduct. And then we just have Bernie. That would be great. Well, anyway, I'm not like banking on it, but it's not impossible. Snowfell says, "So, you've got the eccentric rock star lifestyle down, but would you ever play lead guitar in an honest-to-God rock band? Are you playing guitar at all anymore? I'd throw bras at you on stage, just saying. I'm also fervently glad you're not feverish anymore. Thanks for being here with us and fostering community." You're welcome. I have not played guitar in a long time. I have kind of just decided to focus on piano. I think in part because like I guess I've become too femme for guitar because I'm concerned. Even with my little short nails, it's like so terrible for your hands to play guitar. Like you get these calluses on your fingers, and I don't know. I like my soft hands, but I also just think like I'm kind of not that good at guitar. I'm okay at it. I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it up at some point in the future. Pick it up again. The chance of me playing lead guitar in a rock band is probably pretty slim, to be honest. But I love your vision. I love your fantasy of it. I love it. I love the idea of it for me. Oh, it's this one. You don't get a thank you, babe. Says, "Dear Dr. ContraPoints, WebMD, biological OBGYN, thank you for your medical advice on birthing our baby. Can you please give her..." Well, that was a question that I remember that one very vividly from last stream. That was a question that got the answer it deserved. "Can you please give her 3-week checkup on stream over the internet for social distancing? Joking aside, we don't need medical advice. Don't worry." Okay, that's good. Okay, let's look at the picture. Oh, so cute. And biological. I love the biological tape on the milk connoisseur onesie. Wow, that is a full-on ContraPoints baby. Oh, she's so cute. And her hair is like, that is the hair I had when that was the hair I had when I was that young. Like when I was born, I had like dark hair like that like kind of went into like that little like faux hawk kind of look. And then my hair all fell out, and then it grew back platinum blonde, which I had like the first few years of my life. Anyway, congratulations. I'm glad it went well. She's very cute. Paul Hates Sarge says, "Hi, Natalie. Most importantly, I'm glad you are feeling better, and I wish you a speedy recovery. Also, thanks for replying to my DM. You're welcome. As a fitting question for our troubling times, have you read Camus' The Plague? On a more personal note, okay, I'll answer that question first. Yes, I read it. I read it a few years ago, actually, so I remember it pretty well. Dr. Rieux, or however you say that in French, and I, yeah, it's very good. Camus he's a philosophical writer of fiction, but the philosophy is interesting. And the writing is quite good, quite nice too. Yeah, super relevant for our times. On a more personal note, as an aspiring artist that is also a philosophy major dropout, how to deal with philosophy people calling your work not philosophical enough / oversimplified, and non-philosophy people calling it too philosophical and accessible. Love you. Thanks, Paul. Well, you're gonna have to sort of navigate that yourself. I would say that if you are writing, I mean, fiction people are always going to be annoyed if your writing is too like illustrative. If it's in terms of like being really about philosophy, you're just using fiction as a device to get at philosophy. So I don't want to say not to do that because obviously like some people do have a huge amount of success writing fiction like that. But I would say like the fiction world in general, it does tend to be pretty hostile towards like philosophical fiction. So I would just prepare for that to be a thing. But ultimately, I don't know. I feel like my YouTube videos kind of blend art and philosophy to some extent. So it's more about just having a vision, like just finding a way that makes it work. And like if it works, it works. You can make anything work if you have a coherent way of doing it. So if what you're really feeling is writing philosophical fiction, then I would stick with that, because ultimately like trying to make the art that people want instead of the art that you feel like making doesn't really work very well in my experience. Like obviously you can take other people's, you know, what the people want, you have to take into consideration at least a little bit, but I find I can work much more effectively if I'm really excited about what I'm working on. Lauren Pratt says, hi Natalie, I'm sure this has come up before, but what are your favorite wig / makeup / craft suppliers to shop at? Would you ever be open to commissioning costume pieces, or do you prefer crafting them yourself? Love your content, no matter where it takes you in life. I will always be extremely fond of the art you create. Thank you, Lauren. Well, I like Etsy. I mean, that's not one creator, but I use a lot of Etsy artist work to get costume pieces and to get set pieces. And I do craft some things, like I'll make like a headdress or something now and then, but most of the time I don't, because that takes a ton of time, and I'm already doing the research, the writing, the filming, the editing, so I don't have a huge any more work that I do only delays these videos even more and more and more. And I'm trying, and I try to get them out as fast as I can, but they're so ambitious at this point that it's hard. So what happened to the light that there was a pink light behind me? What happened to that? Sorry. It's actually a red light. There she is. Yeah, the digital Messiah headpiece. I did make that. I style the wigs myself. If I use wigs, I style those, so I do that. But yeah, I like to use Etsy artists, and I have commissioned some things, yes, so I'm open to that. Andrea Schreiber says, well, on many of the not so different sides of the amateur porn industry, there are a lot of products in which, meanwhile, stories about groups of more than 3 people in love bonds, which are closed by the COVID-19 curfew. This is also a reflection of the societies. But that's such a sad thing finally brings something new. What do you think? There are a lot of... let me try to read this again. Parse this again. A lot of products in which... what do I think about people in 3-way love bonds as a result of the coronavirus? Well, I thought there was an article I saw somewhere online that was like, it was like I'm staying with my girlfriend and her boyfriend because of coronavirus quarantine. Um, well, I don't know that. I mean, I'm not sure what your question is exactly, Andrea. Are you asking is what do I think about coronavirus pandemic bringing in a new world of polyamory? I think that'd be an interesting consequence. I'm actually not sure that's a great idea, considering that the whole. Well, I don't know. If people are quarantined together, I guess they may as well fuck. I guess that's my opinion. Like, comment, and subscribe. Okay. Um, ongoing wow says not. I just saw a portrait of a lady on fire, and think you would adore it. 18th century tragic lesbian romance, all about the female gaze, plus bonus ancient Greek mythology and Vivaldi score. Have you seen it? Love and hugs from Lockdown London. Thank you. I have not seen it, but it sounds like exactly my kind of thing. Also, it sounds very similar to The Favorite, which is also tragic lesbian 18th century drama with a Vivaldi soundtrack. So that must be a thing. And if that's a trend, I'm loving this as a trend for us, for me, for all of us really. And yeah, I'll have to watch that. That sounds really good. And yes, very much my kind of thing. It's weird to do a stream this long without alcohol. It's like, it's I'm so used to like that, like driving me, that I had to form my own ideas that don't just come from the drugs. That's crazy. It's probably for the best. Jessica Morgan says, Natalie, I'm here to ask the seriously hard, risque questions I've been dying to know all month. How do you like your eggs? Glad you're feeling better, Jessica. Well, I like making huevos rancheros lately, so I like that. I like spiciness, so I like anything I can put hot sauce on. So I've been doing huevos rancheros with like on a tortilla with refried beans and pico de gallo and avocado slices and hot sauce. I like that a lot. And I usually cook them like over easy if I'm just like frying eggs. So I guess that's usually what I do. Crispy says, hi Natalie, do you like flavored coffee, like French vanilla or coconut mocha? There's a coffee shop near me that has flavors like raspberry strudel and blueberry cinnamon crumble, but my favorite is chocolate mint cookie. Yum. I do like flavored coffee. I'm very curious about raspberry strudel. That sounds good. I would totally order that. John says, hi Natalie, glad to hear you're better. Thank you. What books/audiobooks would you recommend for everyone stuck at home currently? Well, we've been doing some book recommendations in general. As far as I like audiobooks a lot. I've been listening to audiobooks. There's one I can't tell you what the title is because it's the topic of my next video. I don't want to give it away. But another one I read, there is an audiobook of this. It's called The Joy of Pain. It's a book about Schadenfreude, which is a topic that's really interesting to me. So that was a good book. I also have, let me bring on my Audible app here. Wow, this is not sponsored, but it should be. Audible sponsor. Actually, I think Audible has reached out. I don't do any corporate sponsorships, if you guys hadn't noticed. I have The Psychopath Test by John Ronson. I just started that one because I've read a couple of John Ronson books now, and they're all an audiobook read by him. I've come to kind of like his voice, but I really liked his book, So You've Been Publicly Shamed. And then I also read for the canceling video, I listened to it's really more of an extended podcast than a book. It's called The Last Days of August, about the death of August Ames, the porn star who killed herself after being canceled on Twitter. That's all. It's also very good. And I just started listening to his book, The Psychopath Test, which I haven't gotten far enough into it to recommend yet, but I've liked his stuff so far. So and Psychopath, that sounds interesting. So I don't know. I'm hoping this one turns out to be good too. Um, Nicole Graham says, "Hi Nat. My mom is a conspiracy theorist. All she does all day is watch coronavirus conspiracy videos on YouTube. Should I keep trying to talk sense to her, or should I block YouTube on her computer? Living with her is unbearable." Oof. Yeah, that sounds really shitty. Yeah, it's hard to talk to people like that because if you, like, usually they're not open to having sense talk to them, and if you block YouTube on her computer, she's just gonna think that you're trying to stifle the truth, and the fact that you are trying to censor these videos is just more proof of how right they are. So I would basically try to cope. In other words, see if you can avoid talk. Like, be like, "Mom, like, I don't want to talk about this." Like, that's what I would do anyway. I don't know, like, because I think that when you're quarantined with this person, and you know it's your mom, so you care about her. So I think that what I would try to do is reach an agreement that you guys just don't talk about this for both of yours, for your sanity especially. Caitlin O'Brien says, "Had you ever considered portraying a boomer character? My thought was maybe while Tabby talks about revolution, a point is made to viewers through how it's ineptly received or not by her mom, a very milquetoast boomer lady." Tabby's mom. That would be fun. It would be fun to do Tabby's mom as a character. Yeah, that's an idea. It's a thought. Wow, it's been a while since I did a video with characters. I do want to bring that back. It's not the video I'm working on now isn't that, and neither is the next one probably, but I feel the urge. I feel the urge rising. The urge to do character videos. So do that soon, I hope. Okay, I think it's time for another quick bathroom break. I'm gonna make some more tea too. We're actually almost done with the questions, so this was actually a little bit of a shorter stream. Well, by shorter, I mean it's only been, what, like 2.5 hours? That's shorter than it's been. All right, I'll be right back. It's a good thing I've just been downing this tea because it's actually, the cough has not been too bad. I thought it was gonna be way worse. I haven't had, the quarantine is very hard on femmes because we can't, like, I haven't had a lash lift in, it's like, I'm like ready for a new, so I get my, okay, a lot of people probably don't know what a lash lift is. I get my eyelashes permed and tinted because it really opens my eyes up if my eyes are like, eyelashes point straight up and are black. And my eyelashes, like, they will not fucking curl otherwise. Like, I do my best. I try, like, look at that though. Like, that is not a curled lash, and I used a heated curler before doing it. So this is just like painful to me, and I can't. I know this is. I'm a vulnerable population. It must be super fucking hard for me not to be able to get a lash lift. It's oh yeah, I need a pedicure too. Pedicure too. I need to get my hair recolored. There's there's a lot of things that I could really stand to do, but I realize this is not in the grand scheme of things the worst problem people are going through right now, but it is a thing you notice when you have to look at yourself on camera. Okay, we need new music. We've heard this one a few times. Let's see. I feel like maybe we've been talking about Chopin so much. Let's bring her on into the mix. Okay. Domestic says, in The Rules of the Game by Carl Sagan, the author attempts to deal with the ethical questions using game theory and the prisoner's dilemma game. Do you have any thoughts on the ethics of the tit-for-tat rule in which one cooperates with others first, then do unto them as they do unto you? Well, okay, so hold on. We're talking about game theory and the prisoner's dilemma. So the idea is that it's better for everyone if you cooperate, but I guess in a case where you can keep playing after the first move, if the other person betrays you, it's better to betray them. But if they cooperate, then you keep cooperating. I don't know. That's a very abstract question. I feel like before I have ethical feelings about a situation, I need something more concrete. Like, I guess I agree with that in general. Ugh, I love Chopin. God damn it. This is the correct choice. I want to learn to play all the nocturnes. That would be really good. I need to get a new piano and tune it. Cause how great would it be to like just like get up in the morning, make some tea, sit at the piano for a couple hours, then get to work on my videos with that music fresh in my head. That's the lifestyle I need. Okay. I feel like I did not really answer this question very adequately. The game theory question. I think I agree that that you cooperate first and then you respond the way they responded. I could get my current piano tuned, yes. That would also be a cheaper solution. But I want a new piano. Some lesbos. Some lesbo. Hi, number one, what are your thoughts on how coronavirus has exposed the failings of capitalism? 2, which transbian are you, Justine or Adria? Okay. Well, okay. Well, I think it's really exposed the foolishness of not having universal health care, the foolishness of not having paid time off for workers, I think like it shows that, you know, whether you like it or not, we are a society, we are in some sense a collective, and nothing makes that more clear than an epidemic. And the fact that like people couldn't take work off, you know, when the disease was spreading, and that now there's 30 million uninsured people, and like it's not, you know, even rich people have to give a shit. You know, like which they should have thought of sooner than this. But I do think it really highlights the problems. Yes. Okay. And number 2, which transbian am I, Justine or Adria? Well, oh no. I mean, clearly I'm more of a Justine type than an Adria type in terms of like gender expression. Go, I don't know, watch Luxander's video though to find out what I was really saying in the aesthetic. I haven't watched it because I can't stand to watch my old videos, but I'm sure they did a good job with it. Okay. Natalie AN says, glad you're feeling better. Your content's been so helpful to me, not to mention intensely entertaining. Are there any YouTubers you followed that helped with your transition? With love, another Tran named Natalie. Thank you. I am feeling better. Well, let's see. Who did I watch early in transition? I mean, I watched every single trans YouTuber, basically, is the answer to that question. I found, like, Steph Sanjati's videos to be helpful, especially on, like, learning about what the surgeries are like. She recorded that stuff in very great detail. For voice stuff, I mean, there's Zoe Alexandria. I mean, she kind of does, like, she goes hard. But a lot of the professional voice trainers tend to do that. Like, they tend to speak in, like, sort of almost beyond a feminine voice, because that's how you get voice student clients. And I don't know who else. I mean, like I said, I watched everyone. Once you start following trans YouTubers, like, you get recommended more of them. Follow a bunch of trans men as well, because it will be relaxing to listen to another trans experience without the complex of self-critique and jealousy and all the weird emotions that trans women have watching each other. So I also suggest that. Ow, it's hot. Andrew Harris says, Dear Natalie, in 2016, you expressed a low opinion of Rebecca Watson's videos. Has your opinion changed? I'm glad you're feeling healthier and hope you've had a happy trans day of visibility. Sincerely, one of your many non-binary fans, Andrew/Dorinda. 2016. Okay. I do not recall even expressing this opinion. So I haven't watched her videos in years. I'm sure she's fine. I haven't watched those videos in years though, but I'm aware of who she is, and I'm sure her videos are fine. I don't know. I was at a dark place mentally in 2016, and I don't generally stand by any of the things I said. So I'm not inclined to stand by that. For Thandiavas says, hey, how are you, Gorge? Happy ITDOV, International Trans Day of Visibility. Thank you. So I know there are plenty of other things for a tran to worry about right now, especially eyeliner, but Mom, I imagine millions of young single white men at home, social distancing, economically stressed, lacking community, and occasionally getting tired of masturbation. Do you think these conditions plus the YouTube hole might result in a second wave of radicalized normies? Well, radicalized in which direction? You mean like fascists? I don't think so. I mean, well, I don't know. I can't. It's hard to say exactly, like, what causes this to happen. It's entirely possible. I do think that probably, I think on, I mean, I'll speak to BreadTube, to YouTube. I mean, I do think BreadTube is weak, has a lot of weaknesses, and I think that we are about due for an anti-BreadTube backlash, because I think that you know, these things tend to go in waves. Like, you know, we had like this huge anti-SJW thing that was emerged kind of as a reaction against, like SJW, like a lot like BuzzFeed and Jezebel and this kind of media that was super prominent from 2013 to 2016. Then I think me and a couple other people kind of orchestrated the beginnings of what became the backlash to the backlash, which is now called BreadTube. And BreadTube is so ubiquitous on commentary YouTube now, and also so repetitive, and so I think rhetorically weakened in some ways, vulnerable, as a result of the fact that BreadTubers generally do not debate, they don't do live streams, they don't have public disagreements. Every video is kind of the same thing. It's, you know, why the Jumanji remake proves that capitalism is bad, actually. And this leaves it very vulnerable to being picked apart by an anti-BreadTube movement, which I think is around the corner. These are just my predictions, but so that could in fact lead to a more conservative or reactionary YouTube moment. Oh God, I do love this fucking Nocturne. Those ornaments are so gorgeous. I want to go play this after the stream. I need to get my piano tuned. Michael Montoya Orte says, what are your thoughts on the whole bisexuals versus pansexuals thing? Here in Spain, most leftists are very anti-pansexuals because they feel like this new terms make it more difficult to politically organize and incentivize division. But in my opinion, this is basically a non-issue. I don't get why people get so heated about this. Just live and let live, man. Oh, I completely agree with you. I think that this is a perfect example of the kind of nonsensical, inconsequential, foolish non-debate that completely absorbs leftist discourse in an absolutely pointless circular firing squad over zero stakes, which completely distracts from any kind of productive project whatsoever and basically is a huge emotional stress on all the people who actually need the left, and instead they just destroy each other for no reason and with no stakes. It's horrible. I hate it. I can't stand it. Wow, that came out a little more emphatic than I meant it to, but like bisexuals versus pansexuals, this is not a conflict that needs to exist. There's no reason why this needs to be an important topic, right? Like, it just doesn't, you know? Like, I hate this stuff. Like, I hate that this discourse gets so absorbed by these kinds of things. I mean, I have an official take on the bisexuals versus pansexuals thing if you want it, but basically I agree with you. Like, that I think that it's not a very interesting conversation, and like, I mean, back when I identified as bisexual, like, I was content to use bisexual even though I was open to dating trans people, because I just felt I didn't see the need for a new word. But if some people feel the new word helps them, like, I don't give a shit. I do think a lot of new words are off-putting, but so what? Like, when people just labeling themselves, like, whatever, man, like you said. Yeah. Accounting Guy says, And now for something completely different. Is the financial independence retire early movement a subtle rebuke of capitalism? Is that why financial advisors like Susie Orman hate it? So I'm not familiar with the financial independence retire early movement. Is the idea that you make a bunch of money, save a bunch of money, and then retire and stop working? Is it a subtle rebuke of capitalism? In a way, maybe. I think it's a very privileged way of rebuking capitalism, but maybe a way of rebuking it nonetheless. I know someone who's like that, whose plan is to work a corporate job for these 10 years and then retire at age 36 or something. And I mean, I do think it's against the logic of capitalism, which is constantly work, constantly get more, constantly grow. But it also presumes that you are capable of making so much more money than your survival wage that I think it's kind of like almost presumes like that you're making like 1% income to be able to do that. So these are my thoughts. I also don't know what you're talking about, so I could be answering a completely different question than the one you asked. Kelly Zeho says, Hermosa, how has the constant influx of enchanted admiration and hatred from the masses, of course it's mostly enchanted admiration, affected the standards by which you judge yourself? Is the Natalie that none of us know well adjusted to this life? I'm glad you're recovering. Thank you. Oh, I'm like a crazy person. Like, I'm always on the threshold of mental collapse because of the insanity of being a person on the internet. I kind of try to avoid it as much as possible. But it's, it's sort of hard to look away from people talking about you. And I think that, yeah, like no one really knows like what the psychological effects are of reading, 3,000 opinions about yourself a week, but it can't be good. And I think that maybe I will adjust to it someday, but it's still at a point where it's very weird to me. I think I'm getting a little more healthy than I used to be. I know where not to look now. That's at least kind of a thing. I don't read about myself on turf Reddit anymore, for example. That kind of thing. You just have to have a hard rule with yourself that you just do not do it. Maddie Wade says, hey Natalie, I'm glad you're doing better. Thank you. What are your short/long-term goals for life/transition? Well, I don't know. I've been thinking lately about like, I really want a relationship that's like, I don't know if I want monogamy or not, but I think I maybe do. I basically want a wife. I want to be a wife and I want a wife. I don't know, whether that actually means getting married or not. I don't particularly care, but like I'm lonely and I really feel the like lack of romance in my life. And that's kind of like the big missing ingredient for me at this point. Like I feel like I've gotten so lucky with like career wise, and like I feel pretty fulfilled artistically even, but I have just not in my life had really romantic fulfillment. So that's like a big area where there's like no happiness in my life right now, and it really kind of is a constant source of feeling unfulfilled. So I guess that's kind of the biggest hope that I have for the next decade, is that I've managed to make that work. It's hard because I kind of feel like I found the person already, and she wasn't having it. So that makes it harder to move on, you know? But I have to because, you know, obviously she wasn't the person if she doesn't want to be the person. What's more high femme than a spinster? Well, that's that's me. Okay. Rob WK says, "Hi, tell us a story. Maybe a childhood ghost story. A psychedelic journey. A tale of triumph. Behind the scenes with a Philly YouTuber. Or maybe something deep and dark if you're willing to go there. I know you got stories." If that's too much pressure, what's the best kind of milk to pour on oneself? Well, I would suggest using a plant-based milk like almond milk or soy milk because dairy milk it's kind of sticky and gross. You don't want milk to go bad in your bathtub. I mean, obviously you need to clean it out anyway, but something about the idea of pouring a bunch of dairy into my bathtub just seems not super appealing. A childhood ghost, okay, a story. Well, did I tell you guys that me and Jenny went to BronyCon? We went to BronyCon and we explored all the secret tunnels of the Baltimore Convention Center as we kind of went from one room to the next, and we got really drunk at the erotic fan fiction reading. So that's the thing that has happened. Some of the chat says unrequited love is a blessing in disguise. I want to engage with this. They spare you the heartbreaking realization of all the reasons they're a bad girlfriend. Yes, that's true, but it's hard for me to experience that as a blessing because in a way that makes it harder to get over because you don't know what someone is like as your girlfriend, so you can only imagine that it's perfect, and you don't get to experience those disillusionments. You know what I mean? Like, in a way, it's easier to break up with something than to have it always be this hypothetical one-sided thing where you don't even have the opportunity to become disillusioned. Sean says, I'm surprised you didn't meet your waifu at BronyCon. Well, that ship has sailed because there are not going to be any more in Baltimore, as I understand it. Okay. Greg Spratling says, hey, hi, Gorge. If you could watch a biographical movie about any philosopher, who would that philosopher be, and who would you like to see direct it? Any philosopher. Okay, so hear me out. I've actually been on a little bit of a return to Nietzsche lately. I know I am a noted Nietzsche hater, but I think he had some psychological insights that are very interesting to me. And his weird incel life, I'm kind of curious about. The feuding with Wagner, I don't know. Who would I want to direct it? Werner Herzog. Can you imagine? Okay. Alexandria Chloe says, meowdy not. Well, I made you a bunch of other leftist and a bunch of other leftist YouTubers in XCOM 2. XCOM 2. Luxander is your current bondmate. If you're a soldier in XCOM, what class would you be? And what would your story of how you found yourself in this global resistance movement? I could share photos after stream. Okay, I don't want to sound like a dum-dum here, but what is XCOM? I'm just old, I guess. It's a science fiction video game franchise featuring an elite international organization tasked with countering alien invasions on Earth. So it's like a strategy game. I want to see a screenshot. What was your story of how you found yourself in this global resistance movement, resisting an alien invasion? Well, I don't know, I guess, probably the apocalypse has meant that I can't get lash lifts anymore. And so I joined the resistance movement in the hopes of reestablishing a new human society where I can get a lift and tint again. These are my stories. Anne Boyle Ann says, I saw you on Hear the Burn podcast, which I listen to every new episode. It wasn't the first time Brianna mentioned you, but she's clearly a Contra fan. Love you. Take a fucking nap, babe. Thanks, babes. Yeah, I love Brianna. She's great. It's not the first time I've done a stream with her. We did one a long time ago. I actually didn't know that she'd mentioned me before, so that's nice. That's very flattering. Jasper McQueen says, best fruit? Well, let's see. I don't know. I eat a lot of apples. I like berries, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries. The best fruit though. Maybe limes. I put limes in a lot of things. I like putting limes in water. Pad Thai. Mexican food. Hey, how are you? I like star fruit. Star fruit are fun, but I only want to eat 2 star fruit a year. Otherwise, it gets boring because they don't actually taste that great, but they look so cool and they're so pretty when you slice them up. So these are my thoughts. Dane Bow says, hi Dane, glad to hear that you're feeling better. Hope you're doing amazing. I've been trying to think of a question that no one has asked yet. How about this? I really enjoyed the BTS video you shared. So related to that, if your life had a blooper reel, what would be on it? Oh no. Horrifying, awkward situations, I guess. Wow. Honestly, it would be a lot of the same things that are in my, oh my god, I just thought of behind the scenes stuff. Like, I recorded the entire beauty video twice because I didn't like what I was wearing the first time. It would be a lot of that kind of thing. It would be a lot of changing clothes. Wow, that sounds exhibitionistic. Well, if my life had a blooper reel, I don't know. If my life had a blooper reel, if we're being honest about what would be on it, the entire first 20 years of my life. One big blooper. Oh no. Okay, I'm refreshing this. To Guts. See if there's more questions. Yes, a few more. V. Aldunate. Says, or V. Aldunate. I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry. Says, Vi, or Vi, V or Vi. Says, hi Natalie, you've previously mentioned that a former girlfriend painted you before your transition. but as a woman, I believe. You get a lot of fan art, but have you posed for a painting in the time since? No, I haven't posed for a painting in like 10 years. So, I'm not opposed to it, but I have not done it. V. Aldunate. Thank you for teaching me how to say it. Jack Winterdriver. V. Aldunate. Just practicing for next time. Jack Winterdriver says, hey Natalie, longtime viewer, first time questioner. Who are some of the most overrated novelists in your humble but correct opinion? Oh boy. You're asking me to throw shade. Well. Overrated novelists. You know, I still don't quite understand what's so fucking great about Dostoevsky. Let's see, who else? I guess, I don't know. I'm trying to decide how I feel about Joyce. Because I've read, believe it or not, you probably don't believe me, I have read Portrait of the Artist and Ulysses. Because I was like that much of a fucking nerd when I was like 23. And in retrospect, I'm not sure it was worth it. Like, I feel like Ulysses would have to be so fucking good to justify what a toilsome task it is to read that thing. I don't know. How do I feel about this? Like I get that it's great in certain ways, like, and it has its little moments, but I feel like it's just like low payoff for the amount of work involved. Does it make me a bad lesbian if I say I don't really like the bell jar? Like, I like Sylvia Plath's poetry, but the bell jar is just, it's like, God, it's like the female Catcher in the Rye. Can never get into Kerouac. can never get into that. I do like Virginia Woolf, yeah. I agree, Kelly, that she's the superior. Well, Sylvia Plath isn't even a lesbian. just a beleaguered woman. Whereas I believe Virginia Woolf is a real bisexual. Of course, she's a real bisexual. Also, her work is very bi, if not straight up gay energy. Yeah, I like Virginia Woolf. You know, okay, I feel like with all the shade throwing, I have to make myself vulnerable by saying that there are, like, okay, since I'm like meh about Joyce, I did read the first of Proust's. I read Swan's Way, and that was totally worth it for me. I like Proust a lot. I love, because I don't know, Proust is just like, it's just like the exact type of faggotry I'm into. You know what I mean? like I just love, I don't know, I just love it. 100% worth the length. We're almost at the end of the stream. That's why I'm taking my sweet ludicrous time with this. It is a good time to read Proust. Yeah, I agree. Maybe I should go back to that. Are we talking about Proust's length? Wow, this chat has gone very undergraduate very fast. Wow, Jack, you've unleashed hell with that question. Okay. Elsie Hop says, I hope it's not too late to ask a question. If you had to wear clothing by one designer, real human if possible, not brand, for the rest of your life for free, to the exclusion of all others, including underwear, etc., who would you choose? Note, you wouldn't have to display their logos or shill them on Instagram or anything. It could be an open secret. I'd probably do DVF or Carol and Humberto. Oh, I might do Diane von Furstenberg too. I love wrap dresses, so I feel like I could make it on those alone. I'm trying to think if there's any other competitors. Preferably a person, you said, not a brand. Okay. A real human. I'm satisfied with my answer. Let Violet Chachki design my clothes. Yeah, if I want to go around corsets and fetish wear the rest of my life. maybe I do. I don't know. Maya Jones says, now that you're reading Psychopath Test, are you starting to see them everywhere? P.S. Love that book. I still do and read it years ago when it first came out. Well, I just started it, so I haven't read enough to see Psychopaths everywhere, but I'm sure I will. I'm sure I will this time next month. Yeah, I don't know that much about psychopathy, so I'm sure this is gonna like open my awareness of it up a lot. Be one of those annoying people who diagnoses everyone online as being a psychopath. Trying to do that. That's all the questions. I kind of feel like just chilling for a second. Well, I'll stay for a couple more minutes. How are you guys, chat? My voice is less fucked than usual at this point in the stream because I think it's all the tea, and also there's actually a lot fewer questions this time. You started drinking White Claw because of me. They should be paying me. Tell them that. Tag their social media manager. Tell them I drink White Claw because of ContraPoints. I don't do corporate sponsorships though, but you can send me a check. That'll be good. They can send me a coupon. Free White Claw for a month. Patron is probably going to get hard across the board tomorrow. I know. I'm expecting to lose. I think all of us are expecting to lose some support. But that's, you know, I'm lucky enough that I can survive a hit. It sucks for small creators though. I mean, it sucks for everyone. Like the economy itself is just going to get worse. Like literally everyone is going to be doing worse than wherever they were this time last month, you know. Do I feel visible today? I feel pretty visible. I feel as visible as I've been in several weeks. Doing a live stream instead of just literally being locked up in this little apartment. I do kind of want to move. I've been in the same like Uber driver apartment that I've been in for years. This tea is good. This is like my like rose hibiscus, like it's skin detox from Yogi Tea. I don't know. Does my skin look like it's detoxified? I think maybe. How haven't I gone mad by being by myself for so long? I'm feeling a little crazy, to be honest. Like, I think I'm gonna stay in Baltimore. Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, you should move to LA with us. You should move to New York. It's not really like moving to LA and New York. Like, doesn't really make sense unless you want to do like, you know, you want to work with people in those cities. Cause I'm a YouTuber. Like, I could do that from a trailer in Oklahoma, and I could, you know, I could get a mansion in Baltimore for the price of a 2-bedroom in New York. Why go to New York? I mean, I love New York, but I like to visit New York. There's more to do in New York. It's probably a better dating scene. So that's a reason to go to New York a lot. But I'm not convinced it's a good idea to live there. I don't know. Move to a trailer in Nashville. Yeah, well, I literally could. Because, like I said, no reason. But I don't actually want to live in Nashville. I have a really good friend in Nashville, actually. I don't know. Wouldn't be the worst. LA dating scene is vegan. I like visiting LA too. I don't know if I want to live there. I like New York though. I really like New York City. Like, so I do feel tempted to live there sometimes, but I don't think it actually makes sense. Especially because I tend to like, I don't know, maybe I'd get out more if I lived in New York, you know? But Baltimore, like, I don't know, I kind of have come to like Baltimore. I've been here, what, 4.5 years now. And then the rent is so low. Are there a lot of gays in Baltimore? Yeah, there's gays in Baltimore, but it's not like, it's not such a scene as it is in DC or New York. Where I lived before Baltimore, I lived in Chicago, I lived in DC, I lived in Boston. I grew up in Northern Virginia. So, yeah, I spent my 20s like moving from city to city every couple years, from Boston to DC to Chicago to Baltimore. I clearly need to start hanging out with Baltimore lesbians. Everyone I know in Baltimore is a gay man. Not everyone, but almost everyone. New merch, yeah, I'm actually not sure what the status of that is. I need to check in with my assistant about that. John Waters, I like his classic movies. I saw his exhibition at the BMA. I don't know if any of you guys saw that. It was fun. The giant bottle of poppers. For Baltimore. I'm sleepy, guys. I'm actually tired of talking, but it was nice to hang out a little bit at the end. Of course I've watched Pink Flamingos. I've watched it like 12 times. I watched it more than any person should, honestly. Good night, everyone. Stay safe. Take care of each other.